Hey guys, welcome to another episode of All Bass Creations Effects Tutorials, Demos, and Review. Today we'll be doing some bass synth stuff. Basically going through some bass synth ideas, signal paths that are different, different signal paths that'll work. As you can see, I have quite a few pedals up here. So what you're looking at, of course, so in terms of pedal order, um, these ones, this board here is where I'm coming in, and then I switch to this one, and then I end up at the Zoom B6, which is right here. So it's kind of like bam, bam, bam. So hope that's clear. Sorry, no, I know that's not a good definition, but I actually have a few effects loops running, and I have six. Well, it's only five of them running right now, but I can have up to six effects loops. But um, just keeping it simple, you can just if you're on a super budget and you want something that'll get you in the territory of a synth pedal, um, just yeah, I'm always a component of these MS60Bs. They have a great bass synth on there, which you can use for a lot of different things. Let's go through one. Let's see. So, um, just for clarity's sake, um, most all that synth sound is the MS60B, but I do have the SDT running. This big silver one, bam, got that running. Just the preamp side, and then on the screen you can see that I also have this 160 compressor running. Oh, there you go, and those are the settings for that. And then I have this IR running, this Aguilar 410 with a tweeter. Those are settings. And here's the settings I have for this pre 1073, which is a Neve mic preamp emulation, which I love. I just running it for saturation. Nothing else. As you can see, it's no boot. Nothing's. Um, it's a little bit of boost on there, a little bit of gain, but it's no. It's just all saturation. It's no EQ. So even without the synth pedal, it gives you a nice sound. So as you see, I have a more of a mid-rangey sound to my bass. It helps different pedals track a little better when you're using like pitch pedals or synth pedals. That mid-range sound definitely helps. So with the um, MS60B, and let's see. Hold on, before I do that, let's see what I got on here. So I got a D fret, a D fret on the MS60B, and the synths is set to 17, color set to 10, level is 85, and the tone is 25. Okay. Then I have a Z synth, which is my favorite synth on in the Zoom series. They haven't usually carried on the majority, all the pedals I've seen from them, multi effects pedals. Um, Wave is set to saw. Um, Decay is 55. Tone is 6. Frequency is 6. Range is 12. The resonance is on 12. Synth level is 50. Dry level is 41. And the level is set to 35. Alright. And then I got a detune running, which is a chorus. That allows, it's pretty much a double. Takes a copy of your original pitch and then it slightly detunes it sharp or flat to create a nice chorus sound. So that's set to synths is set to 20. Pre-delay is 17. The mix is 30. Tone is 3. The level is 77. And the low cut is 60 hertz. So, if you got something, another type of pedal like that, similar type of chorus pedal, you can use that in place of that. And one thing I encourage you guys to do is, if you have things already have some pedals and things like that. Typically, you'll have these type of pedals already lying around. Maybe not this exact synth pedal. I'm gonna show you guys some other ways of some, because a lot of guys have like a some type of octave down pedal, which you can really the most important things you're gonna need is an octave down pedal, a distortion, overdrive, fuzz, or bit crusher, which I prefer, a bit crusher. Then you'll run that into pretty much a modulation, or then you can run that into a filter or another modulation. So you could do mod filter, or you can do filter mod, either one, or you can mix and match those last little few pieces. Um, you can choose to run a compressor before your octaver or directly after your octaver, either one, or at the end of your signal chain, wherever you feel like that compressor will enhance your sound the best. You can place that wherever and sprinkle that. And the same thing with EQ or saturation type things. Like as you can see at the end of the chain, I have that pre 1073 just on for some nice coloring of the sound, but no EQ or nothing, like just a slight little coloring. You barely even notice it for real. But when you take all that, you run that through a little ampeg type sound, or you can mix it whatever preamp you want in there. So like I said, throw an EQ, things like that in there, and wherever you see fit, and then bam, you pretty much got your sound from there. So that's the MS60B by itself, right? Kicked on the preamp. All right, so bam, little compressor, 160 comp. Matter of fact, before we get too far, let's peel a few of these layers back one more time, cause so you could just hear what each effect added to it. So here's just my bass. Right? Then add on the D fret. So that's with the D fret on. Now we're gonna, without the D fret, this is just the Z synth. Right? Now with the D fret. And with the D tune. So it gives you a nice sound. Give you a nice sound to that, just that by itself. And of course, if you got an octave pedal, you could throw that on too. The octave pedals on the MS60B are okay. You actually do have one more slot, you know. But I wouldn't use that for that. I'd use that for if you didn't have a compressor or something like that, or you wanted a preamp to shape it. Say you didn't have a like a SGT, you can use that last slot on the MS60B to add a preamp, that AC preamp on there, the AC bass, I think it's called, something like that. That preamp would be really good with that sound as well. I actually have on what is this? Oh, that's a different synth pedal. But you can add an octave pedal and run that into the MS60B. I'm gonna use the Poly Blue in mono mode with just the octave down at 11 o'clock and the octave up at 9 o'clock. Nothing else on. Great sound. Great sound right there. So, bam, you run that into a preamp of your liking, you know. Oh, that's disgusting. That is nasty. That is disgusting. Oh, that is so nasty. Um, this is why I love like these particular. I say, when I give my nod to certain effects or things like that, it's for a reason. It's not because none of these people pay me. It's literally because this gear just sounds so good. It's not just me playing it. It's with the right settings. Even if a basic person would walk up and just say, "Bam," it's gonna sound good, and that's just crazy. It's just you gotta have the right setting. That's why I give you guys my settings. I spent a lot of time, you know, crafting these settings, getting them perfect. And I know everybody may not have these exact combinations of pedals, but if most pedals, if you use similar settings on them to what I'm using on this gear, it'll translate. So and you might have to do some tweaking in there. I'm not saying this 100 you're gonna get exactly what I'm doing without these exact pedals. With these exact pedals, you're definitely gonna get this sound because poly blue sounds like that. Like that's tracked. That's not necessarily based on the tone of my fingers and stuff like that. Sound is how that sounds, and same thing with the synth and the MS60B. That sounds like that. So you know, yeah. And let's add a little IR in this pre 1073. Wow, very nice bass sound. You know, and it doesn't it didn't wouldn't break your pockets to get that rolling, and that's a flexible setup even still because you still the Poly Blue got options. MS60B got options. Really the main, like I said, the main pedals you would need for that would be the Poly Blue and the MS60B, and then everything else, you can get close to that sound running that through a bass amp. When you run it through a bass amp, it'll sound similar to that. It's just, you may have to have the engineers mic it up or something, like if you don't have something like a B6. See, the I using this B6 right now is just like a cabinet, so I don't have to mic up this cabinet and things like that. So I'm using the IRs and things like that. As you can see, the IR is primarily the most of the dry signal from the preamp. You know, if you look at, it's only a negative 11, so that means 89% of that is the dry signal sound. So and you may prefer the sound, because a lot of times bass amps you don't need a cabinet necessarily. So ah, oh, that's disgusting. Oh, that's disgusting. That's nasty. Um, Let me see what I had. All right, so that's one of my. And the other thing about a MS60B, you can have all these set up, named, have them in alphabetical order, or your presets will be in alphabetical order, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, but you can, assign them A, B, C, D to whatever you need them to be in terms of presets. But let's see, let's take that off. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and just run with the um, different synth sounds. Matter of fact, yeah. See, I don't prefer this one on there. You can only play slower passages. So like I was saying, it's just that's the same synth from before, the Z synth, but slightly different settings. These ones are set to saw. Wave is set to saw. Decay is 82. Tone is 5. Frequency is 6. Range is 11. Resonance is 11. Synth is 36. Dry is 90. And the level is 43. And then you still had the detune, which synth is set to 20. Pre-delay 17. Mix is set to 28. Tone on 8. Level 85. And the low cut is on 60. It's amazing how many parameters they allowed you to control in this little pedal, which is crazy. I also had an M filter on there as an option, and the frequency is set to 56. Synths is set to 2. Resonance is set to 5. Low pass filter is the type, and the character is 2-pole. Velocity set to slow. Balance set to 60. The balance, rather, set to 60. And the level is on 100. So there you go. And I actually had this one set up for like when if I wanted to solo and have a solo synth. So, say I kicked on, man. Take something like that, like an octave up, and add an octave up. So it actually doesn't track to, even with the chordal stuff, actually hangs in there, the synth stuff. So, I like it, you can, for solo and stuff like that, if I wanted to use it in that manner as well. But, and you can do that same thing with a OC5. Say you want to, you already have a OC5. Put it on poly mode. And if you have like what I would run before this preamp, I got the Aguilar preamp on now. Really don't need a preamp for this, especially if I was going to use a preamp, I would use something on the MS50G, like a guitar one like this FD combo. What's that? Is this? Okay, this is. But really, you don't need it. You can do the same thing with a poly blue or it's really any octave pedal that has an octave up in the dry signal. You can do the same thing. I pretty much have them set equal. And in case you have a matter of fact, so if you have this, I'm using this FD combo. It's basically a Fender combo on here on the MS50G, and I'm using the gain on 52. Tube is set to 49. Level is 66. Treble is 48. Mids is is set to 61. Bass is set to 35. Presence is set to 25. And I just took the cabinet off of there. So it's not all about just the bass synth stuff. Sometimes it's, you want to have something nice for when you solo or do different things like that. Or I consider a lot of the sound, the majority of the sounds I do, even, using these pads and different things like that. All that stuff is technically bass synth to me. I'm using the bass and I'm creating, and it sounds like a synth. So I'm just saying what it is. If you think about it, of course, if you run a bass synth on a keyboard, it doesn't stop at a certain key. It doesn't stop when you get the middle C. It goes all the way up, and you can actually use the upper register of a key bass. So I look at it like that, as like an upper register of a key. If I had a keyboard, using a bass synth sound, upper register to create different sounds, things like that. So, but yeah, something like an MS-50G definitely keeps you from spending a ton of money on reverbs and delays and stuff like that, because it's going to give you a ton of that stuff plus modulations and things like that. But it's going to give you guitar amp models and things like that if you want to have access to those as well. So it really just depends on what you need. I would recommend doing something like that first, and then finding out what you really like, what sound you like, and then if you want to get something more expensive like a Strymon and all that other stuff, then yeah. But most bass players aren't going to use delay and reverb all the time like that. So to be investing in the H90, you know what I'm saying, or something of that nature. So I would say a really good alternative is that MS-50G, and it's also going to give you some of these synth sounds as well in there, as well as going to give you a bit crusher and a ring mod and distortions, compressors. It's going to give you access to a few different things. Not the exact bass versions they make on the MS-60B, but on the MS-50G, it's going to give you different versions of stuff. So that also helps as well. But yeah, let's keep moving. So let me see some. Apple juice. Let's go. So another thing, let's go let's check out some more synth type stuff. if you have a key 9, right? I don't know, for all the key 9 users, that's this pedal right here. It looks white, it's black, but it's just the way the light is shining on it. It's hitting it. But that's the key 9. And I like to turn it on mallets, right? And I'll use the second octave. It gives you an octave down. So you can use it like that as well, you know. So you can use it like that as well, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't have to, you got to just be creative with these pedals. And kicking on a little delay and reverb, you know, see what I got on there. I got the filter delay on the MS50G. I'm going to run that at time at 500. Feedback, FB is on 30. Mix is 8. The rate is 7. The depth is 100. And the resonance is on 8. And the level is 100. Tail is off. Running that into an HD reverb. Decay is 23. Tone is 3. The mix is 7. Pre-delay is 107. High pass filter set to 7. Level is 100. Tail is on. So bam, great tone right there. And so what I'm doing here is just the key nine, and I am running the hog too, but you can get a similar sound using the anything pretty much that's a polyphonic octaver. Most of the polyphonic octavers that allow you to do um all you need is your regular pitch and an octave down, and you're fine. Um, the mono ones are going to sound different. But the polyphonic ones, like if you OC5 and poly blue are going to give you a similar close to it, you know, um, and it still sound good. You can also do it with something like I also had this um, B3 running right here. I decided to throw that on this pedal board, even though this is more of my electro harmonics pedal board. I threw it on here before everything, so I could do things like run overdrives and distortions into um, my octave pedals, because I'm gonna show you a trick with that in a second. But so that gives you different options. You don't always have to have a standard bass sound. You can go with stuff like that, giving you options. Making you a little bit more sonically versatile. You know. Let me see what else I got for you guys. So remember, that's just an octave down, and your dry signal running into a key nine that's on steel drum with the dry around 11. Um, Keys volume is set to around 12. Control 1 is around 2 o'clock, and control 2 is around 11. So, and that's literally just that stuff running into the MS50G with that delay and reverb on there. So, all right. Also, things like like the Pog 2 and things like yeah, that allow you to control the decay and the attack on your octaves definitely helps. So, you know, I know you may not want to drop the bread on a Hog 2, but consider maybe the Pog 2 or something like that. And something that has the ability to shape those sounds a little bit. Maybe after you get your OC5 and your Poly Blue or something like that, that's your go-to synth, mono octave pedal, whatever the case. Maybe consider. Oh, I mean, really, yo, you can get some fire bass sounds with a Hog 2, Pog 2. Um, like a Pog 2 is like a scaled down Hog 2, pretty much. So I mean, really, if you have a Pog 2, for all the Pog 2 users, I'm just gonna do that real quick. Um, just give you a taste of that. Just an octave down, bring the frequency filter down, and shorten the decay. So make the notes shorter from the pedal. That gives you a nice sound as well. Without the spectral gate. Matter of fact, I think the Pico Paul might have the spectral gate on there. They might just call it filter. So. That gets you a very nice sub bass that's totally different than the Poly Blue and the OC5 sound. But all three of these pedals sound completely different. So yeah, they all worth checking out. Or you can change the attack and have it softly coming for different stuff. Add an octave up. And if you have something like a whammy pedal or like those yeah, the what's them red, the red, the pitch shifting pedals. Um if you set that to like one so like one step up, so like when you heel down that's your original sound, but when you go up that's two half steps. You can use that like a pitch bend is used on a keyboard. So like so that's just adding a little pitch bend to it. But you can add, an octave pitch bend if you have that type of pedal as well. I'm just using the Hog 2 um, for this. But let me see. I believe the should have. Yeah, we'll see how these sound. I don't know how they sound, but we'll see how these sound on this Zoom B6 in a second. All right, so let me do this. Let's go to a different patch. Okay, here we go. So we're gonna change this resonance pedal to, I think this is the poly octave one. We're gonna set this to. See, you got two octaves, detune. Creating that detune effect again. All right. So you can start with something like that. And the reason why I kind of focus on the octavers a little bit more is because the different octavers are going to really, really a foundation, whether it be um, if you want to get more in that guitar synth type area. The tracking of it. That's actually all right. That's not the worst in the world. So, you got the ability to bend the pitch with that stuff as well. It's not my favorite, but it can get the job done if you need it done. You know what I'm saying? Um, but you know, of course, when you start having more of a preference in how individual things sound like that, that's when you really start buying individual pedals and things like that that'll enhance your what you got going on easily. You know what I'm saying? So, because one thing you don't want to be doing is fiddling around on stage trying to get to something that sounds good to you. So you want to just know where it is. You know, that's why I just, if you notice, the last video I did was a comparison between the Poly Blue and the OC5. And the biggest thing of why I've had both of those on, because this one is my travel board. Oh, this one right there. That's my travel board, my smaller one, and then the one down bottom here that's on the floor. That's really my synth board, or it's mostly pretty much just my electro harmonics board with a Eden and a zoom pedal on it, because everything else on there is electro harmonics. But you know, my electro harmonic stuff, on my boutique pedals, you know, those I don't use on every single gig. And I quite frankly don't want to be taking that much money out the house like that for gigs, regular old gigs. I don't need all that for. Like, why take those and risk those pedals if you know I'll need them? That's why I have a smaller board and then a bigger board like that. But also I can mix them around because of the effects loops. I can put stuff in different places. But yeah, in terms of bass stuff, and oh yeah, so you can also do things like run a distortion, nice little distortion. Run that into an octave pedal, and that gives you more of like a saw wave type sound. So I'll use um, for these purposes I'll use the OC5. So let's just hear what each one sounds like with and this is in poly mode. Let's see. I think I'm gonna switch over to the poly blue for this one. Poly blue might be better for this. In poly mode. So when you start getting into stuff like this, allows you to have still have that little grit, and we're gonna add. So basically, this is just a distortion, or and in this case, it's a bass, a bass, big muff from Electro Harmonics emulation on the Zoom B6. And I have that set to the gain set to 43, tone set to 94, level set to 98. It's set to bass boost mode, and balance is 11. And if you need more booty somewhere, you can add wherever you got it in your signal chain there. Because, that's literally just my normal, the tone shaping stuff I had on, the compressor, IR, preamp, all that stuff. And so basically it's just the distortion into the poly blue, you know. So, or overdrive, or distortion, overdrive, whatever, bass distortion, whatever. And that's running into a filter, MXR filter. So really, let's see, with just those, oh, that wasn't even running the IRs. So, all right, so with just those three pedals, we're going to see with just those three pedals. Distortion, poly blue, in polyphonic mode. So polyphonic octave, and of your choice, and a filter in that order. Let's try it like that. Because normally you'd have that distortion after the octave, but running it into it gives it a different, slightly different texture. So it gives you a slightly different texture than just running it afterwards. Give you guys a quick example of that. Because luckily I have an MS-60B right here. Let me see. So that's running before. Running afterwards. So it's much more subtle when you run it before. Which allows you to use it in a lot more situations that aren't just like complete rock out situations, allows you to be a lot more versatile. Now, if you want to take that sound, you still want a little more you can add to it. You just gonna put you a bit crusher in there and put this back to, what is this, a warp phaser? There we go. did was kick on, the preamp and all that tone shaping stuff back on. That I was telling you about. So preamp, 160, and you can see the rest on the screen. So just SGT and what you see on the B6 on the bottom screen there. Straight up bass synth, you know what I'm saying? So, and of course, just like the octaver really makes a difference. Um, the modulations are gonna make a difference. That detune is a really good one for get you. So it's all the way bass synth at this point. Phasers are also really good. Straight up bass synth nastiness. Um, of course you could do without the extra distortion before, and just run octaver, bit crusher, phaser into a filter. That's pretty much what that's going to be similar to. But I like this warp filter a lot on this MS60B. It's actually my favorite phaser pedal effect. I'm not going to say favorite. It's in my top 5. That joint is by itself, just even by itself, with a bit crusher. mess with me turning the resonance all the way up, but it just gets so fire, you know what I'm saying? It can get real. It can get real with that warp phaser. Especially because it adds some body to your sound as well. With that and the M filter. And even if you don't have an octave pedal, say you only got the bread for the MS60B, or something like that, or you only got like $100, $120, just to get an MS60B. And the bit crusher and the filter and that M filter together is fire. You know what I'm saying? And what you can do is, playing wise, in order to get closer to that sub octave effect, you can, if you have an octave bass, you can cut your highs on your bass there, boost your mids a bit, and boost your bass. And what you want to do is you want to pick with the note, but 12 frets above. So if I'm playing a G here on the E string, similar to if you were doing false harmonics, you're gonna be right at you're just gonna pluck over an octave above. It's gonna give you that nice. If that's too difficult, just pick around here, like around this area. Alright, but if you really want to get there, just follow your fingers. See, they instantly already got you in synth. It sound like a synth bass. Like, people have a hard time distinguishing between the two right there. And that's just with two effects: bit crusher, filter. If you want to keep it simple, and that way you don't have to buy so many pedals. You know what I'm saying? You can literally just buy you a bit crusher pedal and a filter pedal. If you're on a budget, the Moog filter pedals are going to be a little out of your price range. They're expensive. They're out of my price range. That's why I don't have one. I got an MS60B. Wow. You know what I'm saying? And, I'm trying to think what else, any other tips I want to give y'all. Just for like getting your regular bass to that synth bass territory. It's not difficult. It just, you got to know what to do. I give you guys my settings for the bit crusher on the MS60B. So the bit crush on there, the bit is set to 12. The SMPL is 31. The balance is 7. The tone is 6. The level is 100. And on the M filter, the frequency is 56. Synth is 6. Resonance is 8. Type is low pass. 2-pole for the character, and velocity is slow. Balance 69. Level is 85. So, definitely check these settings out. Because and if you only needed those two slots on the MS60B for your synth, You can have another slot for a compressor and a preamp or something of that effect of nature, and create. Or you can have a full out effects rig. You know what I'm saying? Big crusher, detune, phaser, and then M filter. Um, that's one of my favorite patches right there. I use those four effects in that exact order. Um, and that alone gives you even 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 with that by itself, that's you in the synth. So even without an octave pedal, just running those effects, if you have those effects, you can, you know, get what you're trying to get. Let me see some. And you got other bass effects. Let me see. Um, I had did I did a few of them. Here we go. So I took the liberty of some of the other effects on that Zoom MS60B is going to give you. And no, this is not an MS60B review, but it's just we talking about synth based stuff, and a lot of times as a beginner, the synth based stuff is kind of pricey. You know what I'm saying? But that just getting that one pedal is going to give you access to all these different sounds. Then you can kind of build a lot of those stuff around it. Or if you can find a Zoom B3 on, and get one of those, used, that would be, you probably get one of those used for about I mean, yeah, because what it is you can control certain things with your foot with the B3 expression input that you can't control with on the MS60B. So I would say, if you want to be able to control one of the parameters of the filters, like the M filter, you'd be able to control the filter cutoff. And um, let me see. You can set this to. so you can set that to the decay at that level and the compressor. So, so you can control the decay of like the synth sound with your foot with a foot pedal, and you can control the gain of the distortion as well. So depending on how you got it set up, but it at least allows you to control one parameter from each effect on the B3 compared to the MS60B doesn't have an expression input. Unfortunately, they couldn't squeeze everything into that little box. They ain't got half of the world in there, so I ain't tripping. Make sure nothing else on. Okay. So I'm gonna talk about three more synth based effects that you can find on the MS60B because it's you can just add extra stuff. You can add octave down, octave up to any of this stuff, but the main one we were talking about was the Z synth. Z Syn really is Z SYN, but this is the standard, the STD Syn. Which is short for standard, but okay. Which is Zoom's, own custom original synthesizer. So crazy, nice effect. And I have a noise gate running before that. So I have the ZRN noise gate running at threshold at 20, the tech set to the guitar in, level at 100. Then I got the standard synth. The synths is set to 5. Sound is set to 1. Tone is set to 0. Synth is set to 59. Dry is set to 100. Level is on 100 as well. And you can simply just change the sound. Number 2. Sound number 2. Sound number 3. 24. So, bam. Of course, I like number one the most. Um, so that's what I leave it on. But then we have up the V synth, which is similar to, an effect, the little green synth pedal. And I'm gonna do these. Matter of fact, I'll go back real quick. I just want to show you guys what that sounds like with a mono octave or with octave down. Yep, cool. And the V synth. And the decay is set to 24. The synth is set to 10. The range is set to 2. Synth is set to 19. Dry is set to 100. Level is set to 100 on that. I just changed the range to 9 from 2. So, you definitely want to use a noise gate with these pedals. Synth top. Synth top. So yeah, those are also other synth options you have on this MS60B or just in general. Those are based off of pretty much older synth pedals. This synth talk is based off of a few different. I don't want to. I forgot. They don't really say who it is, but we know who it is. We know which pedal it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not hard if you just Google bass synth pedals. That sound will come up. That sound's bound to come up for sure. Cause you even got different types. So that's your UE, and then they also have UA. OA. Sorry guys, wrong one. I'm running the wrong one. Let's go back. So you got IA. Then we got UE. Then we got UA. Then we have OA. So you could just, it's easy. It's easy to get these type of bass synth sounds. Um, you just have to really have the proper settings and make sure you're keeping a lot of your dry signal in there. Like bring that synth level down with those yang 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 sounds or the really aggressive bass sounds. You definitely want to pull those back some. Typically, having those dimed out ain't gonna work. It's too much of that sound. You bring that back though and bring up the dry signal to be the dominant sound and just bring that in just like under it. And once it gets compressed and brings up that lower part of the sound, it won't be so overbearing, and you'll still have a lot of booty to your sound, and you won't be just sounding like that, you know, and that is a cool sound depending on what you're doing. So that could be a cool sound too. You know what I'm saying? No, that's all the synth talk. And that's based. You can find out which pedal that is. You know, these different. All this is available on the MS60B and the B3, and the B6 has some of these same synths. Has its own synths as well. Which means the B2 and B14, the B24 and the B14 should have these on there as well. These are just standard Zoom bass synth stuff, along with a separate octave pedal. You can use the octave pedal in there, but it ain't gonna really give you the sound you want. You know what I'm saying? So I would say go ahead and get your MS60B first, or something like that, or a B24 if you want to step up to something bigger. I would recommend the B24, um, because that's around 200 something bucks. It's pretty much a smaller a B6, and it's gonna have all the same effects. You know what I'm saying? Like the pre 1073 and the 160 compressor and things like that, and the IRs. It's gonna have the IRs in there too, compared to the this this older version of the MS60B isn't gonna have IRs. It's just cabinet sims. The newer one that's supposed to be coming out whenever that is, they holding that joint up. It's almost halfway through the year. They fiddling around. Um, but yeah, whenever the new MS60B Plus comes out, it's gonna have IRs too. So I don't know if it's gonna have these synths on it though. So, because they don't have the specs and the manual and the effects and stuff, I don't have access to that. So, um, yeah, in terms of bass synth, basically what again, just bare minimum, something like a MS60B is going to give you the synth pedals. If you want to get individual pedals, um, octave pedal, and then you're also going to need a distortion or a bit crusher, and then you need a filter. Um, that gets you pretty much in the main territory. And then once you get those things, you can use things, something like a good chorus, or you can get some good modulations, things like that. If you don't have an MS60B, talking about if you buy an individual pedals. Um, and then you can also use delay and reverb. This video is getting kind of long, so I'm not gonna go into that. But you can use delay and reverb for some stuff as well. It just adds some space to the sound, and you can use it to create rhythms and things like that. So it can get pretty cool, you know, with the delay and reverb and with bass synth. But basics is just that stuff, that the octave, overdrive, distortion, fuzz, or bit crusher, and then modulation, and then filter, and then everything else, from there is just gonna be your compressor or preamp into whatever cabinet, whether it be a real cabinet or IR, and you know whatever whatever other thing you want to do, some saturation or some, add something to your sound. So, you know, that's pretty much how you do that, and get it to sound good. A lot of people, they'll use something like the synths on the um, MS60B, and they won't know that, it'll sound good by itself, but you gotta remember, you gotta make it sit right in a mix, and you might need to, do some more tone shaping with it that's outside of that one effect, i.e., adding preamps or things like that to really accentuate certain sounds and maybe pull out some of the mids so it's a little bit more of a scoop sound. So, all that if you're using distortion and overdrive, all those little gritty details might not be so in your face, you know. So, yeah, that's definitely something to check with. Check out when you get a chance. If you're in the synth based stuff, or if you want to add some of that to your repertoire, but you're not feeling none of the synth based pedals, because I'm not a big synth based pedal person myself. A lot of them don't track well, so I actually would prefer, outside of the MS60B or Zoom effects bass synth stuff, I would just rather use individual pedals and create them, like we were doing here. So definitely check this method out. And if you like those sounds, let me know which sounds you like the best. And try out some different stuff. Send me some suggestions of things you want me to try together. I can definitely do that and leave that in the comments. Um, but this has been another episode of All Bass Creations, Effects, Tutorials, Demos, and Review. I'm the Bass Negus. You can find me on all social media, the Bass Negus, Negus. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Make sure y'all keep me popping in this algorithm. And allbasscreations.bandcamp.com is where all my music can be found. If you want to buy it and support me a little bit more directly, if you just want to support me kinda, you can go stream it. Well, I appreciate it all, for real. You can go stream it on all platforms, all that good stuff, including YouTube. So, don't forget to go check out Fame, which is the Foundation for Advancement of Music and Education. You can go to famemusic.org. We do after school programs and summer programs for kids, for music, and we provide tutoring and mentorship as well. So they can audition if they're in the Maryland, D.C., Virginia area. If they want to audition, hit us up. Go to famemusic.org, and it'll give you all the audition dates. And we help them with scholarships and everything. We got kids going to Juilliard and Berkeley College of Music and New School and all this other stuff. So definitely check out the program and check me out. Hit that subscribe, like, and share buttons. And I will see you guys next time. All right. Thank you. Peace.